Hey, this is Mark with Trailer Sale Productions, and this is our review of the REDARC Electronics TowPro Elite brake controller. In this video, we're going to go over the differences between a traditional brake controller, such as our old Tundra, and the new REDARC TowPro series. So stay tuned. In 2020, we bought a camp trailer to move our RTT off of our 4Runner and to get all of our camp gear out of the 4Runner. This allowed us to put the entire setup in the garage. With all that added weight, we knew it was a good idea to add brakes to our trailer. And the more we drove, the more we realized we needed to have our brake controller set up all the time. But while using our brake controller so much and our trailer so much, we realized just how bad brake controllers are in smaller vehicles. Now, with vehicles in the half-ton category, you have the option of adding an integrated brake controller from the manufacturer. Some of them even come standard. Originally, I had a Tundra Prodigy brake controller. The main unit mounts on the dash, and it has a lot of really great features to it. However, there are also a lot of really big problems with having it mounted up all the time. That box had to be mounted in a certain direction, parallel with the direction of travel, and it had to be mounted where I could get to it. The REDARC TowPro series benefits from the fact that the control knob and the main sensing module are two separate pieces. So now you don't have to worry about what direction the module is actually mounted in. You just have to make sure that it's securely mounted so that it's not moving around separate from the vehicle. I chose a really low spot that was actually on the transmission well just because I knew that wasn't going anywhere. Because the Tundra and most other traditional brake controllers are all one unit, you end up with a big box on your dash. And well, the 4Runner doesn't exactly have a whole lot of room on the dash to put stuff. Coupled with that, the fact that you need to be able to see the unit and get to it and be able to control it easily meant that there's very limited options where to mount it. And very often, I ended up hitting this with my knee, or worse yet, activating it accidentally when I was off-road. The other possibility with having a brake controller or anything mounted to your dash down low is that there's actually a knee airbag in the 4Runner, right down here. If that airbag were to inflate, suddenly anything attached to the dash could go flying. With the TowPro Elite and the TowPro Liberty, you just have this one little knob. That knob is both the gain adjustment and push button control for your trailer brakes. And all the feedback for this brake controller is through some LED lights that are built into this knob, making it a very compact package that can be installed just about anywhere. With any good proportional brake controller, once you have the gain set up and everything balanced out correctly, you shouldn't really notice it, except for when you hit the brakes, everything stops as it should. The trailer brakes stop the trailer, the truck brakes stop the truck, and everything stops in a straight line. Now, of course, the biggest improvement we saw with the REDARC TowPro Elite was off-road. In an off-road situation, you may not want to have proportional braking. You may want to be able to control it fully manually, either by pressing and holding on the button, or by pressing the brakes and having it go directly to the amount of gain that you have set on the knob. A couple of examples of this: when you're going downhill on some slick rocks and you want to be able to stop, you don't want the trailer to accidentally push you through a slick situation. So we turned the gain pretty high up. This allowed us to keep the trailer from pushing us and from getting things sideways or squirrely. In the sandy situation, you don't want your tires and your trailer digging in and basically causing an anchor for you. So for this situation, we turned the gain down to almost zero. You could do this again in proportional mode, but if you need to switch quickly to get some braking going on with your trailer, then you want to leave it in that manual mode, so all you have to do is turn that knob for the gain. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you're needing to make a very tight turn on loose traction surfaces, you can use your trailer as kind of like an anchor. What this does, by turning up the gain on your brake controller all the way up, is makes it so that your front wheels in your four-wheel drive vehicle are actually grabbing into the turn and pivoting off of that anchor point. Of course, the downside of this is that it leaves ruts in the trails, so we ask that you use this very sparingly. My only critique of this brake controller would be the feedback. It's not very clear if there is an error you have to pull out the manual and kind of look through and see what the different flashing lights are. The fact that you have this flashing LED kind of warning or light system to tell you what's going on also helps keep the REDARC Tow Pro Elite much smaller on your dash, and like I said before, it just works. It just integrates into everything and you don't have to worry about it. In my opinion, the REDARC Tow Pro Elite is the best aftermarket brake controller on the market. It integrates well into your dash, it does exactly what you need it to do, and you can completely forget about it once you've got things set up for your trailer. We'd like to thank REDARC Electronics for providing us with the Tow Pro Elite so that we can do this review. If you have any questions about the Tow Pro Elite or anything about our setup, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you have any stories about using a brake controller off-road, we'd love to hear some tips and some tricks and how you use a brake controller in an off-road situation. I'm Mark with Trailer Sale Productions, and we ask that you be kind, be curious, and go explore. Cheers.